Hey, it's Thomas Mulready from CoolCleveland, and we're here today for Cleveland Independence. We're talking about Cleveland Restaurant Week 2024, which is March 4 through 16. And today we're speaking with Carasai Ihentuge of Yum Village at 22nd and Chester in downtown Cleveland, as well as in Detroit, where it started, and also with Talia Trovato and Hedy Trovato of Copia in Chesterland, Ohio. Thank you guys and welcome, and thank you for joining us today.
Definitely a
Thank you
pleasure.
for having
Thank
us.
you.
Thank you. Carasai, you are Nigerian and African American, correct? Yum Village serves Afro-Caribbean food and drinks as an homage to your Nigerian diaspora, the people that are all around the world that come from Africa. You have these chef-prepared meals, and I love this, priced to what the community can afford. Congratulations, that's a great way to do it. Ready-to-eat meals, bowls, specialties. And do I understand you guys came from Africa at age 5 or so? Is that
Yeah, so
your story? How did it all come about?
so that was my brother actually. So I'm first generation Nigerian. My dad's from Owerri, Nigeria, which is very close to Lagos, Nigeria. So we try and, like you mentioned, put that fusion into the diaspora here within the community.
Right. And the food that you guys offer, it's sourced from Haiti, Caribbean, West Africa, as well as local. Is
Correct.
that right?
Correct. Exactly. We're an advocate of using local vendors that import or source these ingredients in to make our dishes.
Wonderful. And Talia and Hedy, with Copia, you are both the chefs, right? And from what I understand, Talia, you kind of handle the cocktails, and Hedy, you handle the wine, if that's how you break things out. Talia, born and raised on the east side of Cleveland, homegrown, grew up with Italian family traditions, went to Notre Dame here in the Cleveland area, Ursuline, worked at the Cleveland Clinic. I found this interesting, in molecular medicine laboratory, okay, and then decided I want to do food, and you went to culinary school and really rose to the top. Right, the very top of this. We went to Disney, Five Diamond restaurants like Victoria and Albert and the Grand Floridian Resort and Spa. And Hedy, you ended up in the same place, but you came from a totally different place, right? Venezuelan born, raised in Puerto Rico and Florida, went to the Orlando Culinary Academy, Le Cordon Bleu, and then to Disney and these same restaurants. Tell us what happened there. Is that where you guys met? Did you actually meet at a Disney restaurant, Five Diamond? Top of the list restaurant?
Yes, that's where we met. We were working side by side pretty much, and that's how we got to talking. And yeah.
So, Hedy, it sounds like you also bring some of your heritage to the cuisine in the menu with offerings like pork tenderloin, Venezuelan halakha, for example.
Ayaka, yes, that's
Ayaka.
that's something that I grew up eating every single year around the holidays, and
Right.
it's just something that really brings me back to home. Those flavors and just that style, very homey and elegant.
Oh, that's great. And Talia, born and raised here in Cleveland, rising to the top of the culinary world. How did you two decide to take this big risk? Because you were doing pretty well there, working at Five Diamond restaurants. You didn't have to think about where you were going to get another job, but you took a huge risk and moved to, of all places, Cleveland to open a very high-end restaurant. Talk about that risk.
You know, there's nothing like Cleveland. There was nothing like coming home. I mean, I had an amazing time at Disney. Of course, it's the happiest place on earth, and it's true. So you're right. We were in the best restaurants, and we came back to Cleveland, or I came back and brought Hedy, obviously, and we were running some kitchens downtown and in different restaurants, and we really just couldn't find the right fit for us and for our type of cuisine. And from where we come from at Disney, they're very well known for multi-course tasting menus, which is what we love. We love those 10 courses, and we wanted to bring that local, and we couldn't find the right space to do it. So we did ask the previous owner of this building, Loretta Paganini, would you mind if we came in on one night and introduced our food? We couldn't get that introduction that we wanted and that we were longing for, showing off our food a bit. And by the second conversation we had, she said, I'm really looking to get out of the restaurant if you want to take over the space. So it was a big risk at the time, and honestly, I think it was the best decision we ever made, because we were here 2 years later, really just doing our food and doing exactly what we want to do.
Yeah.
That sounds fabulous. Congratulations for taking the risk. And Carasai, very different cuisine here. Talk about the kind of fast casual to-go offerings that you guys came up with here post-COVID, which sounds perfect for people wanting to pick up food and take it to go, and you're right down by Cleveland State University. Talk about your offerings.
Yeah, definitely. So we want to be a non-traditional West African Caribbean restaurant. We're trying to popularize West African food, very similar to your Chipotles, your Piatas, or your Chulas. So there's very, very little wait time when you come in. You can get an authentic Nigerian dish, right in front of your eyes. So that's something that we're breaking barriers doing as we expand.
That sounds fabulous, and it sounds like it's for the right kind of thing for the right time here, where people they've changed how they eat now here post-COVID. It's a different world, and I congratulate both of you, all three of you, for being food entrepreneurs. Right? You've taken food and you've become very entrepreneurial, and you've taken risks, and moved Yum Village here. You had already a few in Detroit, but thank you for coming to Cleveland as well. And Hedy and Talia, what a risk, Carasai. Cleveland Independence was started, we were just talking about this, about 19 years ago.
Right.
And the three of you really represent this sort of new generation of area chefs that are part of Cleveland Independence, more diverse, culturally specific, female-owned. This can be challenging, but what you have shown is that it offers new opportunities. And that's not the only challenge. We've come out of the pandemic, right? And now we're in a period here, February, March, in this part of the world where people maybe don't go out as much, right? So I think that's where the idea of Cleveland Restaurant Week came, like, let's do it in March when it's kind of slow. And again, traditionally, it's a 3-course meal for $39, but each restaurant of the 40 or so that are participating can come up with their own. And I was just wondering, Carasai, what are you offering with your sort of grab-and-go, ready-to-eat meals at Yum Village?
Yeah, definitely. So not the $39 since we have a little bit less of a coursing size, but we're at $19, and then we also have a $29 one. It comes with actual bowl dish and 2 sides, and we also make fresh made juices that you can have with your meal. So you can get jerk chicken with rice, sweet and spicy plantain with a goosey stew, which is another West African staple, and fufu. Some very popular dishes that people compare, during that restaurant week.
That sounds great. That sounds wonderful. And Hedy, the Cleveland Independence restaurants, they're working with Stoli on some new cocktails, also working with the Ohio Beef Council. But again, everybody can offer exactly what they want. You already offer these tasting menus, which is what Cleveland Independence, Cleveland Restaurant Week usually offers. But what are you guys planning at Copia for Cleveland Restaurant Week 2014?
Yeah, so one of our, 3 courses starts out with a yellowtail ceviche. That's the app. For the entree, we're going to a barbacoa-style short rib. And then we're going to a Grand Marnier souffle right after that. That's one of the options. The other one, it's a spring mix salad. I mean, it's very refreshing with a lemon vinaigrette. Boneless pork chop with asparagus and a béarnaise, and pistachio cheesecake. So yeah, with a little raspberry on it.
And the best thing about this, we are a little bit over the 39. We are doing 45.
Right.
But these are very similar to our everyday prefix tasting menus. And this is like our special time to just show up for Cleveland and to do this discounted price. These meals are comparative on our everyday night to $80. And they're your full-size portions. There's nothing smaller. You're getting a full taste of Copia by coming to Restaurant Week, which is something that we're just really happy to be a part of.
And that's the beauty of this, is you can get a little sampling of something that maybe you hadn't taken advantage of, and here you see there's a nice discount and a way to get a taste and maybe do something. Or it might be a way for your regulars to come in and save a little money, you know, and take advantage of the discount and maybe try a new offering as well. And Talia, you and Hedy met at really what was a mentorship program, from what I understand, at Disney that brought chefs together of the highest level to learn from each other. And as a member of Cleveland Independence, have you been able to take advantage of some of their marketing education programs, just being a part of Cleveland Independence?
Yes, well, when I went to Disney, I was accepted into the what's called a college program. So it's really for culinary students who get right out into the real world. I was only in that program for 12 days. It was supposed to be 6 months, but my chef had said, we're going to make you full-time, which is then when I met Chef Hedy. But yes, we're so happy to do different things. We went to a wonderful fresh fruit market with Cleveland Independence and talked about those local ingredients, which is something we're very passionate about. You know, our menu changes every 3 months. So the seasonality that Cleveland Independence really introduces to a lot of people who don't know, you know, what's fresh during these different times of year in Cleveland, something I grew up with, so I'm very familiar with. But, you know, Hedy didn't know when our apples start and when our blackberries are in the summer and our elderberries. So that's a really exciting thing that I think Cleveland Independence really demonstrates what's going on in Cleveland, what's happening with our produce, what's happening with the newest alcohols on the market. I mean, we were lucky enough to do a gin tasting with Hendrick's Gin we paired with Cleveland Independence set up for us, which was a great experience. So we always like to pool and not only give somebody a dining experience, but to give somebody an educational dining experience and take a lot more out of it that way.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for walking us through that. That's just fascinating. You know, I'm just struck by how two restaurants couldn't be more different than you guys here, right? Representing two ends of the spectrum, casual and formal. Yet you've both found great success here during challenging times. So congratulations on that. And I want to talk about the future a little bit and the way you're doing business, Carasai, because you are really committed to giving back to your community, carrying on these traditions. The tradition being in the food, right? And I think we all understand that Cleveland is very rich in its ethnic heritage, and the best way to experience other cultures really is through their food. We have these great festivals every weekend in Cleveland and in Detroit. I mean, this region is a lot of immigrants, people that are hanging on to their traditions, passing them on, and winning new converts as well. But for you, Carasai, Yum Village is about the future for. Talk about grab and go and the sort of traditional menu that you're doing. I mean, that's a whole new concept here that has really sprung up. And talk about where you think that's going in the future.
Yeah, definitely. So we actually just opened our Columbus location last week as well. The grab and go is simply to get a chef-prepared meal at your fingertips. We offer meal plans, and we use special containers that are BPA-free and microwavable, so you can get a chef-prepared meal 3 days, 5 days, or 7 days, for the week. So we're just trying to, like I said, popularize West African food by making it easier for people to experience it.
Wow,
just
that's great.
Heat and serve, pretty much.
Heat and serve, yeah. but it's at a high quality,
Correct.
And you're serving it quickly, and you're keeping it fresh, and you're keeping it hot.
Definitely.
And there's a difference between something that's spent 20 minutes or whatever, who knows where, versus getting the quality that you need, and that's important.
Definitely. And Tom, we also add in that we're gluten-free and non-GMO, so you're also getting a healthy concept at the same time.
Yeah, and I notice you offer a lot of vegan as well
vegan,
options.
Yeah, you're right. 75% of our menu is vegan as well, so we're checking off all the marks.
That's great. Hedy and Talia, Copia offers, on the other hand of the spectrum, these wonderful tasting menus, right? And it's really a whole evening experience of dining with the ambiance and with understanding the food that you're getting. You have seasonal offerings. You're changing this up at least 4 times a year with what's fresh and what's available, right? And what's local. Where do you guys see the high end of the restaurant industry headed? Because again, this is a commitment for people to go out, spend money, spend an entire evening. People are staying home. It's a tough environment. Where is the high-end industry going? Take whichever one you want to start with that one and give us your opinion.
I think there will always be an appreciation for food. And the best part about especially Cleveland dining is there are so many different types of concepts, and so many of them are represented in Cleveland Independence. I mean, we've been whispering, we want to go there. We want to go to Yum Village. I mean, it sounds amazing. You have to like what you like. Like I said, I think there will always be some place to go. I always want to say, we love high-end dining. That's something we love to prepare and love to make because we can bring all those different ingredients into a refined yet still homey type of cuisine, make people feel very comfortable. So I have high hopes, especially in Cleveland, for that there will always be an appreciation. But like you said, dining is different, so you do have to adjust. You have to adjust your concept and your menus throughout the year. In spring, you want to eat lighter. So on our spring menu that actually drops the same day as we're doing Restaurant Week, we will have a whole section just of tapas. Whereas in the winter, we bring wagon caviar. So we adapt and evolve as time goes on to give our diners really what they're looking for seasonally and really just how life is evolving as well in Cleveland and our guests coming here. Yeah.
Right. Oh, it sounds great. Thank you so much for sharing. And I feel so lucky because although you guys are both relatively new restaurants, new to the Cleveland area here, you bring such experience with you from your training, from working in other restaurants, from your culture, your heritage. We are just really blessed that you guys have come here, and we're so glad that you're so successful. And as a reminder, people can visit clevelandrestaurantweek.com to find the participating restaurants because not all of them are offering it, but you can find their menus, their locations. There are new members as well. We've been talking about this for years, but there's a bunch of new restaurants now that have recently joined Cleveland Independence. There's about 70 restaurants who are members, and about 40 of them are participating in Cleveland Restaurant Week March 4 through 16. Carasai, Hedy, Talia, thank you so much for taking time today to speak with us about Cleveland Restaurant Week.
It's our pleasure. Thank you.
Pleasure. Cleveland is a melting pot, so definitely a pleasure.
Thank you, and welcome to you guys in your new ventures here as foodtrepreneurs. We're glad to have you here. This is Thomas Mulready from Cool Cleveland and Cleveland Independence and Cleveland Restaurant Week.